Amazing 3 days of surfing. You know, the round 4 three-man heats, absolutely incredible display there. And just watch some highlights here. And look at that, just threading the needle. Beautiful tube ride there.
I love how high up on his board that he was when he was driving through the tube there. He was so far up and just lit that thing up, got all the way through the inside section, and started this heat-off swing in a 17.33 total for Taj Burrow in this non-elimination format, Reggae.
Yeah, well, Taj didn't leave much for Julian Wilson and Damien Hobgood. Of course, Julian, he got a couple of good ones himself, but Taj was just on fire, and look at him just loving it.
And this was the heat that started this morning off when it really started to pick up again. And we started to realize, wait a second, this swell is actually growing.
That's right.
And seeing some amazing backhand tubes out there throughout the day today. It was insane watching these guys go for broke. Damien Hobgood just getting a backside tube right there. He was just saying how incredible it was to go back-to-back, split peaks with these guys, and see the situations unfolding with tubes like that. He's like, nowhere else in the world can you do this except for Pipeline on Oahu.
Yeah, well, Joe, we've just seen frantic action all day. In these three-man heats, of course, that's what it's all about, just setting things up with beautiful tube rides like this. And, well, Taj Burrow is having a pretty good time out there, as you can see. Body language showing it all there. And, well, what can you say about this bloke?
Kelly Slater, it put on a show. Look at him roller coastering in the tube there, making the impossible happen on that 5-fin board. I think we got to get a highlight reel of all the kickouts because they've been insane. You can tell how much fun they've been having in this lineup. Look at Kelly again, rifling out of another tube. Big wrap in front of his competition. Took a solid win over Heitor Alves and Chris Davidson.
Yeah, well, and there you go. Just these inside rights just standing up perfectly. Just cruising out of this one, Davo.
Yeah, it was pretty classic seeing Davo when he came into the beach. He was like, all right, I saw Kelly Slater every time I turned around packing a tube, and you're like, what can you do at this point? He saluted him last year, and he saluted him in this heat as well. There's Heitor as he tried to get a double barrel here on this inside section, ran after it, and Heitor was one of the rare guys that was actually able to get 2 visions on that long left.
Well, that's right, and then he finished that off with a beautiful 3-4 re-entry in that closeout on the shore break. So, and here's what we've seen a lot, the split peak. You saw the start of that one. And look at this, just rifling through this wave here.
Amazing tube from Heitor Alves again as he looks at the crowd and he's stunned. But then all of a sudden we saw Adriano de Souza take the lineup in heat number 3, and he was on fire, Reggae.
He was indeed. Of course, he's on fire all the way into the final. And Adriano, well, he's put together a fantastic day surfing, hasn't put a foot wrong. And as you can see, he was setting things up nicely from the very get-go in these round 4 heats.
Look at that stall at the end of that tube. Big float finish on the inside section for Adriano de Souza as he continues to heat up. And that's the scary part about Adriano. If he's heating up, he's probably going to make the final. We see this little roller coaster one for Freddie Pataccia on the inside section. He was flying away happy. He just wanted to make his heat so he could get barreled. Look at these splits at the peak. Are you kidding me? Joel Parkinson won that 4th heat of the 4th round.
Yeah, that was his high-scoring wave. Beautiful barrel. And here goes another split peak. Looks like Michelle, is it?
Michel Perez was insane throughout this run. Huge openings, and he was looking so powerful in that matchup. He had a 16.10 total, but he was forced to surf in round 5 again because Barca was so dynamic. We also saw John mixing up. He had a 17.54 total and had to get back into round 5 as well.
Yeah, well, John Florence, really did make a huge impact here as we see. He got so many tubes, of course. We're going to be talking about how he threw away 9.5 as his 3rd scoring wave in his 2nd round heat. But John Florence has announced himself onto the World Championship Tour in a big way. Well, this is the sort of stuff we saw in the first heat of round 5. So quick inside tube there. It was never going to be a big score for Julian Wilson, but there just weren't any sets coming through in this heat. It was just one of those moments where, or half an hour, where we just saw quite a few lulls. And then things started to change with Heitor Alves and Damien Hobgood. Things kicked into gear there. As you can see, Heitor just flying through this wave. Just look how long this tube is.
Oh, this was such a long tube ride as he looks to the crowd. He was so pumped up. Damien came in, he was like, you know what, I never really felt like I had that breakthrough moment in this seat as he was eliminated quickly as we moved on there. Damien just kicking out a nice barrel. I was like, yeah, Damien, you got a lot of barrels, but he's like, yeah, I was waiting for that breakthrough heat though, where I could have got maybe one of the bigger stats of the day.
Yeah, well, he didn't quite do that. As you said, he was hanging around with high 6s and a couple of low 7s, so not what he wanted. And, well, as we see here, this really set things on fire again. Michel Perez and up against Freddie Pataccia. And, well, these guys went back-to-back with some beautiful tube rides. Look at this one of Freddie just charging through. And he was more than happy with that.
Oh, you gotta love his exit out of the tube there. He was so fired up, but unable to beat the Spartan in that one. And then we moved on to John Florence and B. Durbridge. And John has that classic frontside tube stall where he actually slides out and gets barreled. But B. Durbridge finding some wide open lefts like this. This one was impossible. He was so deep, he traveled so long, and he got a 9.77, a big part of his win in that heat over John Florence.
Well, just look at B. Durbridge, his backhand tube stance, absolutely perfect. This wave just peeling down that inside bank, and Beat is so deep there and riding the foam ball, and then he just comes out, and that was the one that made the difference with that heat again.
Back with this insider, look how much movement he has. He can move anywhere he wants in the tube, and this was a good argument to try to say, hey, look, like I got a pretty good vision on this one. Do you think I should take the win over Bede Durbridge? But ended up in Bede's favor, and Bede obviously doing a good job to get to the semifinals.